For Alina.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hey, and we're here back, and we're black with a little mixture on Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics, y'all, right here on Thursday. Getting ready to kick it off. The sounds that you're hearing in the background is that of my past brother, Mr. Michael Jackson, y'all. We're gonna take a little listen, a little bit more to this, and then we're gonna come back in with our illustrious guest, y'all. Yes, indeedy, y'all. We're gonna rock ya. Yeah, we're back. I'm telling you. And I see my co-host is in the house tonight.
No, I'm the co-host.
No, you're the co-host now.
Oh. He's handing out promotions.
No, my co-host is in the house tonight, Ibrahim.
Uh-huh.
And my co-host will be here in a little while. Miss Tasha Aset. We got the grasshopper on the other side of the microphone there that you can't see him because he's invisible.
Yeah, I like that. I like it that way.
He's the invisible hand. He's
he's dark.
The man behind the curtain.
Oh man, don't say behind the curtain. He does bad shit back there. You know?
That's why he's back there.
So, just for the guests, first time here, I want y'all to know I get beat up a lot on this show.
Oh,
so don't take it lightly. Don't take it to the head. Yeah. I can handle it. It's me and the Grandmaster, always sparring, always throwing bars, challenging with the music the whole
I
night.
try to keep it as civil as possible.
Oh, here we go. You team up with
no, whatever.
My homeboy. and the official
I try to keep you from being a bully. That's all.
unbiased judge on our panel, Ibrahim, rejoins us in the studio
That's
today.
some
My
shit.
brother,
Yes.
what's happening with you, man?
Hey man, how was Louisiana, man?
It's beautiful down there.
The Mardi Gras.
The Mardi Gras. It's funny too because I went down there. Everybody was like, "Oh, the Mardi Gras is gonna be crazy," and I was like, "I've been to Brazilian Carnival. Like, it's got to be insane to top that."
Right.
And there was definitely craziness going on, but I was trying to explain to a friend of mine because Mardi Gras, you have the parades, and then you have Bourbon Street, which is insanity. And I said, Carnival in Brazil is the parade with Bourbon Street happening on either side of the parade
Right.
for miles. Many miles. I said, so this is a walk in the park compared to what I've been through before. But I really went down there, I wanted to see, I was there before the Mardi Gras. I was there for like a week before. I wanted to see a lot of the parades. I wanted to see the Zulus. I wanted to see the Indians in the Ninth Ward. Was there for music. It was, I had a good time. Good time. It was beautiful down there.
That's cool.
The music, the energy is bananas. Like I came back here thinking, y'all people in LA ain't shit. There was some brothers on the corner just said, "Oh, we're gonna get together and just play some music," and they've blown everybody away that I have ever seen in Los Angeles. It's actually a rare thing to see really good live music in Los Angeles. I think the last time I saw a band that impressed me was when Michelle and Cello came through, about I think a year ago, and that was bananas. But other than that, most times it's very kind of it's like they're up there they're practicing.
Nobody wants to really do real music anymore. They do bullshit.
Yeah, they don't put in the work.
I think the most, listening to you say those things about that city, the most remarkable thing about that city is that these people are making most of this music out of love.
Exactly.
You'll go to a club and you'll see someone who is playing his ass off or singing his ass off, and you'll wait around for him after the show and you'll say, "Don't you want a record deal, or don't you want to come to LA or New York or something like that?" And he says, "Hey man, I got a job down here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing this on the weekends and at church. I have no interest in a record deal or anything like that. I do this because I love it."
Exactly.
And it's just amazing to see that.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right, before we get too far
that's
gone,
what I was going to do.
Thank you very much, Grandmaster.
As the voice, the illustrious voice that you heard.
We're all going to go Barry White on me today.
Well, he does. That is one thing about Rich. He does have the sexiest voice on the.
Don't tell him that, man. Please.
Man, you making me want to murder mine.
It's like that. What was that? That Back on the Block album with Barry White was on. Come on. Well, baby.
Don't get him to sing and shit. No, come on,
I will.
Well, on that album, Barry White didn't even sing.
But not him.
Barry White was he was doing the sing speak. He was on. Oh yeah, baby.
Oh, please, not Rich. Don't even start him, man.
Although, remember when Barry White was doing that comeback and he was on our Senior Hall show and he was singing, and what did he? Oh, he was all singing. Then all of a sudden he goes, "Whoop whoop wop wop woo-doo," and I was like, "What? What?"
All right. So before we go any further, let's get these folks introduced because the show is already busting out the bag. Go ahead.
We have our illustrious guest here, the voice that you heard with the deep Isaac Hayes type tone to it. That's my main man, Steve Ivory.
Round of applause.
All right.
How are you?
And then sitting next to him is a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
Yes, sir. Singer, guitar player. I'm telling you, man, his family is bad. Musical family. Tyler, we got some. I got some of your stuff too, man. We're gonna kick it off. And we're gonna talk about some things and stuff. You just met with Babyface too, right?
I met with Tony.
Come to that mic.
Last night. I met with Tony last night, and we were in the studio till, I think I did just a couple hours, and then went home and wrote a song. And it was pretty cool, man. I mean, I'm blessed down here. It's
so, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Tyler Conte.
Yes.
Welcome to Jerry Bell's R&B
Soul Classics.
Soul Classics, as we like to say here, and of course,
we got a special
the great,
guest,
the inimitable Ibrahim.
Oh,
There we go.
He's
He's happy I'm back.
so much. That's your end, man.
we have
You're dressed for battle too.
Look, you trying to pump yourself up.
Like
and shit.
that jacket.
Look, he trying to get his pump up on.
I held it down when you were here, man.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Please.
Yeah,
Whatever. He still got his ass spanked.
I have to go back to the records and see.
It's on record.
I'm telling you, man.
I reviewed the records the
Daddy.
last time I was going for a stint, and then you was talking about, oh yeah, and Rich was talking best about you, and everybody was da 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 da, and Rich was getting his ass kicked. And then I watched the records, like that's not true. Just that's part of the mark of a good warrior is they embellish their achievements.
Is that what you call that? Because I thought that was lions.
He was like, he said there was giants and lions, and after I fought through them, then I took on the master. He was teleporting all over the place. He was
Check
crazy.
him out, man.
But for the sheer force of my blackness.
Oh shit!
Here you tell it.
We busted him up, man. And then when he got his little protege, shock him and brought him in and tried to get him, he got beat up in here.
Oh, what you ain't know? Like when he gets shot him, that's because he go in another room to get high. He's like, I didn't break.
So Shock will be coming on for the second hour when my high wears off.
Well, shit, Shock will be coming on in.
I gotta go re-up in an hour.
We have special guests calling in too at around 3:00 today too from Detroit, the Motor City.
All right.
I'm gonna hit y'all with it.
Oh, you're gonna leave it as a mystery?
Yes, sir.
I'm really wanting to know myself. You told me it was gonna be very exciting.
Yeah.
Word.
Brother Steve.
Mm-hmm.
That's my man here, boy.
Got a great voice for radio too.
Thank
Yeah,
you, sir.
man.
Thank you.
I told him he better do something, man. Get in radio and shit, and leave them girls alone. Man.
Yeah, right.
Cause they gonna keep calling you father, Steve, what's going on with you, man? What you been up to?
Hanging loose, man. Just writing, doing my thing.
For those of you who are tuning in who don't know, Steve is a journalist, and also he was very, very close with my brother Michael Jackson.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I first met Michael. I was joking about it. You got every time in here, every clock in here except Oklahoma City. But I was born and raised in Oklahoma City, and that's where I first met Michael Jackson and his brothers, the Jackson 5. They were there in town back in '73, and a buddy of mine got the bright idea of going into a sound check. We read somewhere that if you went into a sound check that you could meet your favorite star, and ours was the Jackson 5, and lo and behold, we went into this sound check at I guess it was the Myriad Convention Center where they were going to play that night, and actually went in there and met him. And after that, I guess a couple of years after that, I moved to Los Angeles, became a music critic, and one of the things I had to do for Soul newspaper, which is where I started, was to interview the Jackson 5. So from that point, I just got to know the family, got to know the whole family.
Right. It's this is a perfect timing because, earlier I told you before we came on the air, I was watching I just happened to flip some channels and TMZ was on, and they had this dude on there talking about how he was partying with Michael in Bahrain with the Prince of Brunei, which was bullshit. But he was trying to make himself seem like a good story for TMZ. And he was talking about how they were doing shots of tequila and smoking, and I'm like, this is bullshit. First of all, Mike never smoked in his life, and two, he didn't drink. You know what I mean? So that needed to be cleared up. I wanted to clear that up today. You know what I mean?
Well, the interesting thing about Michael's death is that when he died, when someone dies, everybody can say they knew him.
Right.
The person's not around to refute any of that.
Right.
So when Michael died, everybody became his best friend. Right. I mean, there were people who said they had tracks that they, recorded with Michael Jackson, and on and on and on. And I don't know that it will ever. I don't know that we'll ever see the end of that kind of stuff. But the interesting thing about those lies is that Michael Jackson actually is a guy who you might have seen anywhere, and you would have just said, you know what, I just saw a guy that looked just like Michael Jackson coming out of so and such and building, but I know that wasn't Michael Jackson. But Mike did all kinds of things.
Right.
I can remember, gosh, I forget the producer who produced Rock My World. Rodney Jerkins. Rodney Jerkins once told me that he got in the car with while they were working on that album, the Invincible album, that Mike wanted him to take him someplace, and it was clear to him that Michael had not, been in the front seat of a car too often. So he said, no, Mike, you're gonna ride in the front seat. I'm driving. You're gonna ride in the front seat. So they were just driving down the street. They come to a stoplight. You're sitting there and you turn to your left and you see Michael Jackson sitting in the passenger seat. He said for at least 5 miles, people were just going crazy, and Mike was having a ball, rolling down the window and yelling and waving at people and the whole thing. He had a sense of humor and he had a sense of adventure. So you might have seen Mike anywhere.
Yeah. And that's...
But not in Bahrain doing shots.
Right. Right. And that's the thing, man. When I met Mike was when I came to LA and I got with their brothers because we had a softball team. It was the Jackson. Remember that? We played at Balboa Park.
Balboa Park out in the San Bernardino Valley.
Right. And we were playing against like the Silvers and the radio station. We played against the Temps.
Yeah. KGFJ or somebody like that.
Yeah. All those different radio stations and different entertainers, man. And Mike, at that time, Mike never came out. He was pretty shy.
That's right.
The only ones that came out was Rebe and LaToya and Janet, and then the brothers. So the ballpark used to be full of people.
That's right.
The only time you see Mike is when you get back to Havenhurst.
That's right.
And then Mike would be running around. He'd pull little bullshit things on you,
Pranks.
Yeah.
He was a prankster. Loved to prank
throw
people.
water on you. Put the water at the top of the door. You open the door up and it fall on you and shit like that.
Yeah, he was a prankster.
Crazy shit, right? But that's and then through the years of knowing Mike, I was out with Mike on the Bad Tour in Japan, and even then, man, Mike was a prankster and crazy, did silly shit and stuff back then too, and he would dress up like an old man.
That's right.
The last time that I had a chance to even talk to Mike or see him was with Griffin. And Mike called us up at 3 o'clock in the morning, had us to meet him at Norm's, and he was dressed up like an old man, And then he was just talking about all the stuff, why are they doing these things to me?
Yeah.
So, when Mike's death came about, one of the things that I wanted to clarify with everybody is, number one, Mike was never a pedophile, because my kids stayed at the ranch, Neverland Ranch too. Hanging out with his kids and with Marlon and Tito's and those sons, and and playing when they were little boys. So I wanted to make that perfectly clear. People who hate you for accomplishing things that they could have never accomplished, or that they want what you have so badly. Michael was they tried to portray Mike as being broke. He was very wealthy. He was and the Jackson family was a royal family of music. They were the royal family of R&B music, man. And so because we both had the opportunity to share in part of his life, I'm glad that you're on the show, that we could talk about, the facets of Michael, so that we can let people know and clear up, that it's, people wanted what he had. There were a lot of haters, especially in the industry when it comes to the industry moguls. Mike controlled the half of the catalog of Sony.
Yeah, people will never. I think it will. I don't know that people will ever really realize just how incredible what Mike did. I mean, it's one thing to be considered the greatest entertainer of all time, but when you consider what this guy actually pulled off in terms of music publishing, someone at his estate said early on that the Sony Music the music publishing arm should actually be called Sony Jackson Music, because the deal that Sony made with Michael Jackson in terms of the Beatles music was to tell him, listen, we know you're going to buy the Beatles song catalog. We know that. Now, we're not going to try and overbid you or anything like that. But if we can just be involved and in business with you administrating the songs, you're going to own those songs, but can we be involved in administrating those songs? And in return for being involved in administrating those songs, we're going to give you part ownership of all of our catalog. So this man showed me all of the songs that Michael Jackson owned by way of this deal with Sony. And it's absolutely astounding. I mean, any song that you name, country and western catalogs,
Madonna,
gospel music catalogs. I mean, all of this stuff Mike had a part of in terms of ownership. The public will never really know just how bad this cat was in terms of his business dealings and how he almost pulled it off completely had he just not, passed away the way he did.
And the biggest enemy to Mike was Tommy Mottola. You know what I mean? Tommy had a really, when Mike exposed him as being the devil of the music industry and the things that he was doing, trying to control him and this, that, and the other, then Mike became a target, and this is when all of the pedophile stuff started coming out and, all these different little things, wacko jacko and all this crazy shit that they were, were saying about Mike because he was pushing it. And from the things that I was hearing, around the Beverly Hills clique was that Tommy Mottola had it in for Michael, The only problem is Mike didn't have the protection that he really needed to have around him, And one of the main things that they did when they first decided that we're going to destroy the Jackson family was to, when people character assassinate you, that's a heavy thing, man. And so when they started character assassinating Joseph, and they got Joseph out of the mix, then that's when everybody started coming in. Because, when Joe ran it, it was like being in the military, you know what I mean? And they used to claim that, he was this, he was that, and he was a hard father. I'm a hard father, you know what I mean? I don't want nobody coming in my family, touching my kids, and being around them and trying to get into, what we've built as a family. You know what I mean? You want to come in and destroy. Where were you at in the beginning? So, and you knew Joe. You know what I mean? So
yes. No, Joe didn't play. Papa Joe.
Yeah.
Jackie told me once that the Jacksons rehearsed every single day.
Yep.
Whether they had a concert tour or not, they had to rehearse every single day. And at some point, guys in the group started marrying just to get away from Joe, because Joe ran it like that.
Yeah.
And Joe has taken some hits in the media over the years, and what is often forgotten in all of that is that he got those guys where they were.
Well, that's right.
The reason they were the entertainers that they were, to the point that Motown or anyone else was interested in them, is because of Joe Jackson. Yeah. Even when they were at Motown, after they were at Motown, and it was clear that Motown was losing interest in the group and wouldn't let them develop as writers and musicians in the studio and all this stuff, right. It was Joe who said, I want these guys off of Motown. I want them to go someplace where they can write, where they can develop as producers and be creative. So Joe has gotten, a bad rap. But if it wasn't for Joe, there would not be a Jackson 5 or a Michael Jackson.
That's interesting because can I jump in real quick? Because you know me, I'm supposed to be always bringing this stuff back to Africa, bringing it back to the roots. But the reality is, as I'm hearing you talk about this, it reminds me a lot of people level criticism at Joe as being a hard father and having to rehearse every day and that kind of.
That's right.
one of the things that I had the pleasure of seeing while I was in Africa was that most of the culture goes on in the village. It doesn't go on in the cities. And this is the exact opposite of here, right? And there was a village, and this is not uncommon, where every single person in that village was a musician. And that's all they did.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
And there was a neighboring village where all these people did was farming. And then there was a neighboring village where these people did this. And then they traded with each other, right? And the village of musicians were always traveling to the different areas. And that concept, I mean, I met a man who his family, he had a band of drummers. And this is the baddest band of drummers I have ever heard in my life, right? And there's all these different sized drums, everything very well coordinated, very well organized, set up, breakdown, the whole nine, right? Dancers, everything. He had...
Now, were these guys playing...
These were traditional percussions.
Okay.
15 drummers at one point. All of them were his sons.
Oh, my God.
It's like he said, he got together with his wife and said, we're going to build ourselves a band.
We're going to build a drum corps.
Because his wife's a musician, she's the lead singer, he's the lead drummer, and then there's his sons is the drummers, and then his daughters. God. So this whole family is engaged in this, and it's a constant thing. Right. So they're rehearsing, playing all the time, every day. And when I look at what went on here in the United States, we as black people are always expressing what we had always done, just in a new reality, in a new sense. So when people look at what was going on with the Jackson family, they're astonished and go, because if you're looking at it from a Western concept, from an American concept, it doesn't make any sense. But when you're looking at it from the standpoint of this is a civilization that was uprooted and then placed here,
yes,
it makes all the sense in the world.
That is an incredible thing that you just shared. Yeah. What you're saying is that it's very natural to have a family like the Jacksons or the Silvers or the Starstaps or something like that, because this is what they did in Africa.
Exactly.
Or the
over
Bells.
There, it would have been over there. It would have been.
That's right.
Yeah, these family, these little villages of musicians or of whatever, that would have been very normal in that environment and very supported. Here, you're kind of doing it on your own.
That's right.
You're in the wilds.
Yeah. And it's always a struggle.
It's always a struggle.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation in this country. And even when I look at the music industry now, because Steve, when we met, I'm gonna let you tell how we met, and it's crazy, man, how I ended up getting my first solo deal.
Well, how we met, Jerry, was that I was in a copying shop, like a Kinko's or I don't know what they call them now, but I was there trying to have some copies made of something that I had written. And there was this guy who came in, and he was, I don't know why, weren't you, I forget why you were in there. I guess you were making some copies.
Making some copies.
Yeah. And we started talking, and I don't know who asked what the other one did, but we started talking about music, and you mentioned that you were a singer-songwriter. And I said, wow. I know a guy who just got a record deal. His name is Mark Kreiner, and he's the executive producer of all the Chic records. And he just started a label deal. And, you might want to talk to this guy, Now, at that time, I had no idea that people made money doing this. I just said, hey, here's the guy's number. Give him a call and tell him that I, sent you over there, and Jerry did that. And the next time I saw Jerry, he had a record deal, and he had signed with those guys. And
MCA.
What year was this?
I was 80. That was 1980. I had just left the New Birth at the time.
Wow. Was it 80 or was it the late?
1980.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So yeah, he introduced me to Universal, the people over at Universal. I ended up getting signed over there.
And I just want to officially here and now apologize for putting you in this mess.
It's a mess, man. It ain't the business, man. This is crazy, man. the the record, when I met Mike, again, before I moved to California, was when Mike came to Gamble and Huff, when Joe brought him over there. At that time they were with Sony.
That's right.
And my partners back then was McFadden and Whitehead.
Oh yeah.
So they ended up doing, Gams did Can You Feel It along with Mike, and then McFadden and Whitehead did Heartbreak Hotel with Michael. Mike wrote a lot of that stuff, you know. God, there was some other stuff on there too, man. But I know the projects that we were doing at that time was the Jacksons and Gladys Knight, you know. But and we did 2 albums on Michael and on the Jackson 5. The Jacksons. Actually, they changed from the Jackson 5 to the Jacksons because Randy had came into the group at that time too.
That's right.
But man, you know, it's refreshing to be able to tell the facts and the truths about this gentleman, you know, and the uniqueness of who he is, what he is, you know, what he's done for the universe musically, you know, and just his persona as a man, what he's brought to the world, man. You know, a lot of people don't know the things that Michael has done for people who needed things, you know, and because Mike just cared so much about people in general and children the most, you know.
Right.
All right, guys, this is a good point to take a break because we're here at the bottom of the hour. We got to pay some bills. Would like to acknowledge some people who just joined us in the room.
Yes,
equally
indeed.
famous, or nearly equally famous, let's just say. Kay Johnson, the wonderful, beautiful, inimitable Oracle herself has joined us. And, of course, let's swing the mic over to our co-host, Tosh Offset, has joined us, and will be joining us throughout the rest of the show. Grandmaster, now take us to the bridge.
Yes, sir. So when we come back, we're coming back with my man Tyler and some of his music, and we're going to talk about how we met, you know. He was getting beat up by some woman over on no, just kidding, y'all. But yeah, we're gonna take a pause for the cause, y'all. Stick around, and we'll be back after station identification. Same bad channel, y'all.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Lewis Logan, inviting you to join me every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon for Faith on the Front Line. We don't just talk about it. We are about it. That's our motto. Don't just talk about it, be about it. We highlight the issues and challenges that we face today and how faith communities and leaders make a difference. So don't forget to tune in to Faith on the Front Line, exclusively here on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, and watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dawn Christie inviting you to join me every Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for my all-new show, The Dawn Christie Show. Join me as I discuss love, spiritual readings, your purpose, why am I born, what am I here to do. So don't forget to tune in The Dawn Christie Show at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV, reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hey y'all, I'm Shaquem Williams and I'm the host of The Shock Factor here on LA Talk Live. We broadcast to the world every Friday at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Live music, live performances, we're just live. Chef Momo, Life MC, Diana, and once again your host Shaquem Williams. So come join us every Friday here at LA Talk Live, the world-leading broadcasting internet radio station. The Shock Factor. The Shock Factor. Join us on The Shock Factor.
Clouds float now that you're gone. I'm alone without you here. Pain will come often, but in time will soften and clear. And the sun will shine through. My mind will be free. I'm trying to take it there, but I need a love, I need a friend, I need a balance greater than. So you smile with open arms and say, yeah, yeah, yeah. One day at a time, just one day. You'll be alright one day, and you'll find it happens in everything you mind. One day at a time, just one day. You'll be alright, yeah, and you'll find it happens in everything you mind. A long road ahead, so far to run. But if I won't change, I know I'm the only one. And I will feel free, yeah, to be who I am. I don't have to worry, cause I finally understand that I need a love, I need a power that's greater than, yeah. So you smile with open arms and say, yeah, yeah.
And we're back, and we're black and a half. Hey,
it's funny. I found out that I have like a little bit of black in me.
No, ain't no little brother. It's in there.
I'm telling you, man.
You're kidding.
I found out.
You're kidding.
Ain't a little bit. I'm telling you.
After this funk, there's no question.
Yeah, we did like my brother did some research, a bunch of ancestor research.
Yeah, ain't no little bit, you know what I mean? Black is black, man. And then once it's in the blood, it's in there.
Sounds like Tyler Conte in the background. What's that's your new album, your new release, your new single? Let's talk about
I wish it was my new release.
Hotness, man. Hotness.
Thank you so much, man. I actually released it in 2010, at the end of 2010, and did it with an independent label. And just not really much promotion at all. And it just kind of, we did get some cool things. But at the end of the day, it's another record that's just sitting there, you know.
Well, not anymore. You might not know it. ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, Sound Exchange, as a network, we are. Your music on our network earns you spins. It is part of the 1996 DMCA Act, Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And if you're a legitimate internet radio station, and we have been from day one, thank God, we pay artists when we spin your music.
Wow.
So we're definitely going to put that funky little piece there in the mix for sure, man. That was really, really hot, man. Nice rousing round of applause for you on that one, brother.
Thank you very much.
That was bananas.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man.
So what are you going to do? You going to re-release that?
That was worth
what's your
driving
plan?
over here.
That record, I think, I think I'll probably end up just kind of leaving that one behind. It was a collection of songs that I did since I was about 18 years old, and I'm 29 now, and I feel like I want to move on, you know. It's like it's almost heartbreaking at times to listen to it. I love it so much because it is a big part of me, but it's like I have so much more to say now. And that song in particular it's called Heaven's in Your Mind, and I actually wrote that about when I overdosed on crack when I was 20. That's why it's it's the 12-step program. The one
You
day
do have some black in you.
Oh yeah.
Where are you from exactly? Where are you from?
I'm from Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a black in you. You didn't know that? I'm sorry, let it go. Let it go.
But yeah, I was born down here in Los Angeles, and then I moved up when I was about 8 months.
Ex-Crip blood? Any?
No. I mean, I wore red when I was a baby, but it wasn't my choosing.
Right.
Yeah, his brother is bad too, man.
Can I take a moment out, Grandmaster, if you will allow me? I want to talk to Tyler a little bit because I'm probably the only non-artist in the room.
Yes, thank you.
And Grandmaster will remind you ad infinitum that I am the worst singer in the room as well.
Oh my God!
But that don't stop me from singing. Want to hear it? Here I go.
No,
go ahead, man. I'll give you a beat.
There you go.
Please
What? No, that's not. All right. Anyway, but you got me started. I want to go back to a comment you made about feeling the pain when you hear that song, because you gotta be on the other side. You gotta see on the other side of it, I'm sure, as an artist, that song is so uplifting and gives the listener so much joy.
Yeah.
But here's this backstory about hearing it now, a part of your past. Let's talk a little bit about that aspect of music, because as a consumer, I am a lover of music. I am a musician or singer.
You're not.
I'm not.
Thank God.
It's very difficult for us to connect to that thinking. That you've got this great piece of music. Nobody has heard it before. We have the great Steve Ivory here, who is a music journalist, has never heard this cut before. And he said that it was worth driving down here just to hear that. And yet in the past, there was some pain to speak to. I know you don't lie.
Yeah,
I can look in your eyes and tell you don't tell no lies.
Well, everybody don't feel that way.
I don't believe nothing Jerry said about you, Steve. Forget about it. All that stuff he was talking since I first met you, man. Out the door, in one ear, out the other. But let's talk to that painful element. You don't have to go back to the past, but how this, at some point, maybe some type of disconnect, perhaps, with you in that moment in that song where you want to move on.
I think it's more just the album as a whole. I think the song. I'm actually somewhat proud of what I've come through. So
well, you should be.
Thank you, man. And so it's not particularly the song. Actually, that song I love, and a lot of the other songs on the record I love as well. I think that you evolve so much as an artist, and the things that I wrote about then, I'm happy to say that I still believe in most of them, but my perception has grown, and I feel like I can deliver more depth, and vocally I can deliver better. So you just feel like
better than that. You think your voice has gotten better over time too?
No.
That happens, man.
No. Yeah, in ways. I think it's more like I learned things that I did on that record, like even simple things that listeners probably wouldn't know. As far as when I would be in the studio, I'd step back a little like this on the mic, and I would be so into clouds float now that you're gone, instead of clouds float now that you're gone, I'm a loud hole without you here, like really giving it to them through the speakers. And so it's just things like that, learning through making those mistakes, that I feel like now putting out a new record, it's going to touch people even more.
It's called mic etiquette.
Exactly.
Yeah, so lean into your mic a little bit more, would you? I tell him that all the time. Oh, yeah. He's good on the singing part. But anyway, there's one back at you.
Okay. 2 points. 2 points for the grasshopper. 1 point for the master.
The unbiased judge there. Thank you very much.
Keep it track.
So this is one of your more dated pieces, perhaps, right? A couple years ago, something like that, right?
It's the only record that I released.
Lord have mercy. ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, what?
ASCAP,
nice.
Yeah. And then
earn you some money?
No, not really.
No, we're gonna earn you some money by playing it on the station if
you'll be beautiful.
Like us to play it for you.
Like 50 cents.
$1.50 million, I'll take them. All I got to do is run his record 1 million times. How hard is that? I'm 24/7, Daddy. That's how we get down.
Man, I love that.
We got a plan for it.
Yeah, we got
Thank
heat
you,
for
man.
everybody.
Yeah.
He's like, I ain't taking no more jokes from nobody.
It's only juice today. Didn't make it to the CVS yet. I'm raring to go. I can't wait till the top of the hour. All right. Anyway, but let's talk about, are you doing anything new? Are you back in the studio?
So I released a year and a half ago. I went over to Russia and I won a thing called the White Knights of St. Petersburg, which is kind of like American Idol in Russia. And it was a 4-day.
Not a Klan rally. That's the first thing popped in my mind. White Knights.
You know where you at right now. Look at that
I wasn't particularly interested in the name, but I was interested in that money, that check.
I hear that.
So
Ruples.
yeah, man, I got a call from someone that submitted my music, and I was actually really skeptical about it. I was like, Russia scares me anyway, and it was extremely difficult to get into Russia. But once I did, I will say I was treated pretty amazing. The funny thing is, and it is a long story, but the short version is they lost all my bags. They lost my guitar. And a woman next to me on the plane ride over had a stroke and woke me up as I was going over the Atlantic Ocean by grabbing my arm as hard as she could and not breathing, going, I can't breathe, help me. So,
Wow.
I mean,
My God.
I traveled about 24 hours, woke up the next day of the competition. The first day of the competition, they had lost all my bags. The first night I performed in sweatpants and a tank top, and killed it. I shut it down, and I couldn't believe that I did. I thought, there's no way. I was the last performer as well, and then Michael Bolton went after me, and he came off the stage, and he stopped, and he looked at me, and he was like, "Man, you are amazing, man." And all the rest of the artists were kind of just standing there, just like, and I mean, I really. It was an amazing experience, man. I felt like God was really with me, man.
And still is,
I
my
got
brother.
a
Still
question.
is.
If I can.
Michael Bolton sing his compliment to you? He's like, "You're amazing! You're amazing!" And Patti LaBelle was right.
Well, the thing that struck me about what you just said about losing your bags, it all comes together now because Putin just gave a press conference. And the
gave
way
out your bags.
and the way
I got this dude's bag.
and the way he was dressed, the way Putin was dressed at this press conference says it all, man.
Did he have a guitar on his back seat?
I mean, he was dressed pretty hip, so I'm assuming that those were your clothes, bro.
Putin was he's going to the black market stalls, going, "Oh yeah,
You wanna
that's
know
some
what's
good pickings right there."
What's so funny about the whole thing is that actually, like, even though they lost my clothes weren't shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I ended up getting them back, and it was almost like I looked better in the sweatpants and the tank
I
top,
love
and
it.
they were
I
tore
love
up
it.
jeans.
I love
You
it.
know what I mean? I
love
had
it.
$600 to my name, man, and
Wow.
I won 30 grand.
Tyler Conte, y'all. Hey,
Wow.
listen, let's take a quick
Wow.
turnaround real quick because we've got a caller on the line who's been very patient. Caller, thank you for joining us here on Jerry Bell's Soul R&B Classics. What's your name? Rep your town.
Okay, this is David Banks and he is from the group Enchantment.
Yes, sir.
Enchantment. Oh, my God. A
Hey,
round of applause. What's happening, my
God.
brother?
All right, how you guys doing?
What's up, David?
Man.
Hey, you got it. You got it.
Where you
You
calling
got
us
it.
from? You calling us from L.A. or
Detroit.
Detroit? Why?
I'm calling from Detroit. Yeah,
Wow.
we're calling from Detroit.
All
Yeah.
the way live from Detroit. Well, welcome to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, is
Great.
EJ on the line with you?
Hello, how you doing? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, everything is good. Everything is good. Blessed. Thank
It's
you.
been a long time, brother. It's
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir.
It's good to hear your voice, man.
Yeah, man. Same here.
Hey, tell our radio listeners, what you're doing. For those of you who don't know,
And video viewers.
and video viewers,
Thank
that's
you.
right. Who don't know, Enchantment made the record Gloria, y'all.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
The hit of hits, y'all. The hit of hits, man. The one that I tried to sing couldn't do like EJ.
no,
And
you
it's
killed
you.
it, though.
It's you that I need.
Did a fantastic job.
Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Hey, tell them what you guys are doing, where you're going to be. I know you're going to be in Miami coming up soon, huh?
Right. Yeah, March 29th, we're playing in Miami for a fella named Chico Leo. and he does an old folks thing over there. He's trying to reinvent old school music, real music. So we're gonna play over there. A big dance situation over there. He has like 3,000 followers, so we're glad about doing that. And then we also have a major show coming here in Detroit with OJ's and Stephanie Mills and the Floaters, May 10th. Am I correct, DJ? Yeah, May 10th.
Yeah, that's at the Fox Theater, Mother's Day weekend. And that's going to be a great show. And also we're going to be at the Majestic Star Casino in Gary, Indiana as well. So we're doing some different things, and we're working on some new product for later on this year.
Yes, sir, man. And definitely, since I've talked to David too, man, I've been working on putting together a concert package for us to do together as well, along with Al Jarreau and the Emotions. So I'm looking forward to all hooking up, man. But definitely, I wish you guys were here, man. It's like it's snowing out there, huh?
Yeah, we got more than enough snow. We've had enough of that. This has been a long, tough winter, but hey, we trying to tread through it.
Hey, man, it's 93 degrees here today, man.
Yeah, so rub it in, why don't you, Grandmaster? 93 and sunny.
Yeah, we didn't want to hear that.
Don't rub that in, man.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, man. Anybody on the panel want to say something to the guy?
I just want to say, this is Stephen Ivory here in L.A. I just want to say how much I have appreciated you guys' work over the years. I mean, just an amazing group. And as much success as you've had, you never got all you do. But I'm just here to tell you that I love you.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate that. And, we've always tried to keep our music top notch and everything that we do since we've had the pleasure of being in the entertainment business. And, we've always sung from the heart, and we always try to do quality. We haven't had a lot of quantity, but we've had quality. And we thank you and all of the people that have supported us down through the years. We're always going to try to continue to keep our music at a level to where people can, appreciate it. And, real music. That's what it's about with us. Real music, real songs, and real topics. You know what I'm saying? So we thank you for that, and we appreciate it.
Hey, man, that's one of the I'm a stickler about real music, real singers, bands that can play, musicians, you know what I mean? Because it's synthetic stuff that they got and they're coming out with, and they're making tons of money where we put our whole life into what we do, and we get less of just the respect, that we should be getting and honored by, Grasshopper, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Well, in the background, of course, Silly Love Song, one of my favorites from Enchantment, man.
Wow.
And again, thanks for joining us on the show. If your first time listening to us, Jerry and I always go back and forth, and I ask questions about how such great music is made, compiled, distributed. In this case, in a lot of cases, we talk about how music changed at a certain point during the late 60s going into the early 70s, and you start hearing much more creative sounds. And one of the things about Enchantment, especially for a guy like myself, coming up in that era, the blue light basement parties, all that fun stuff. And this was the music you could sure enough get your grind on to. And so I love you guys just for that, because I had a lot of happy nights in my own basement with the young ladies with this music. Well, too young to make any babies in them days.
We always try to put forth our music according to what was going on in our lives. You know what I'm saying? It was a personal thing. And we felt like if we sang about something that was personal, that people could always relate to it in their own personal lives. The strange thing about it was that Gloria and Sunshine, Silly Love Song, all of these particular songs, most of them I wrote, and it was about situations in my personal life that I wrote about. And the strange thing is that when we came out with that particular music, it was right at the height of the disco era. We were really going against the wind because, there weren't a lot of ballads going on and stuff like that. But somehow, through the grace of God and through people's good taste in music and things like that, we came through all of that, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah. And also your innovative approach
to it. It just goes to show you that good music will always come through, no matter what time it is. Good music will always shine through.
Absolutely. I wanted to swing the mic to Tosh because I know she's over there grooving, man. You know, this is probably a song that her mama maybe made her to or something. I don't know. Were you born to this song?
Hello. I'm in a zone right now because I'm hearing my favorite song of all time. So the breakdown of that song at the end, I mean, it's like you all just kind of fell in the groove, like when the music just go doom 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 la da da. I mean, was that? Oh yeah. Did you all write that part, or you just said, "Hey, we're just gonna add this" as you were, jamming to it?
No, I put that together with my producer Michael Stokes.
Wow.
We kind of wanted to go into, it was half reggae, half breakdown. A little different musically, but it was just a continuation of what we were doing in the song, and we just wanted to kind of put a little icing on the top of the cake, so to speak. You
put a lot of icing on the top of that cake.
It fit.
That's right. That's right.
I love that, and I thank you all for just help raising communities, because that's what that music did back then. It raised communities, environments, and people, and uplifted them. It gave them hope and something to look forward to. So I would just like to thank you.
We grew up in the era of great music, listening to all of the Motown sound and all of the things that came shortly thereafter, and so we were affected by all of that great music, and then mixing it with the times that we were living in and stuff like that. As you grow up and you're around different music and different situations, you grow into your own manhood and your own personality. And so we were a result of all of the music that came before us. So we have to give credit to some of the great music that we were influenced by as well, and so it came together like that.
Can I jump in?
Wait, one more
go ahead,
question.
Go ahead.
That Gloria was a bad chick. Can you tell me a little more about Gloria?
Well, it was a personal situation. We were in a relationship, and
what had happened was
I can't get into the entire thing, but we made a decision, a mutual decision that we had to part.
Okay.
And neither one of us really wanted to at that particular junction, so we did it nonetheless because of necessities that I can't get into right now.
Right.
And the love was still there. Yeah. And to show that the love was still there, our second song, Sunshine, was about the same situation, only a little time later.
Oh, wow.
And it showed that the love had not completely let go, but it was quite personal.
Well, I know that's something that she'll cherish for the rest of her life.
Well, the question I wanted to pose, since we are here with a room full of musicians, producers, a journalist, where is the music headed? I often sit in and listen in on these conversations, and Grandmaster makes it very clear that he's not a fan of some of the new music out here.
It's not music.
Well, crap. Some of the new crap, the new bullshit, by whatever term you choose to use. But nonetheless, where is music headed? Are we going to have to revive all of the great R&B soul singers and bands? Are we going to have to dig up James Brown and all these dead greats? Where's the music headed? And does real good music have a future? Because everyone else I talk to about this in these types of sessions who have history in the music seem to paint such a dismal picture. And yet here we have young Tyler Conte here, incredible artist. Where's the music headed?
Well, I'm hoping that the spirit, so to speak, the soul from the artists that help pave the way will somehow reinvent itself in some of these new artists. I think that's the only chance that we have. We have some great talent that is out here. It just depends on whether the music industry will allow it to flourish. That's the biggest problem, because you don't hear as much of the quality music as you hear of the junk. And if we can give that music a chance, I always say if we were on an even playing ground with the other music that is out there, then we would actually see what the people like.
Absolutely.
But they can't like what they don't hear.
Absolutely.
You see, they can't like what they what they don't hear. They have to have a chance to hear it. And right now, it's leaning on the other side, because you're hearing more junk than you are hearing quality music. So if the good music has a chance to be heard, that's what's going to tell the tale in terms of where we can go with the music. I think it's still around. The talent is still there, and we just have to be in a position to be able to be exposed to the talent of those who are doing quality music.
Well, let me say before we go to the break, and Grandmaster, you can take it after this. The fact of the matter is the way that people are discovering music is more internet-based now. And so internet broadcast stations like ours that are officially licensed by the PROs, we are the place where this music gets played and heard and exposed for the first time and over again. So I would encourage you, gents, if you're not looking in that direction, it's certainly the direction in which music is being discovered, both by young people and rediscovered by elderly people like the Grandmaster. So you just keep sending us your music, and we'll make sure we get it out there. Ask Grandmaster how much we've done to help him. Now take us to the bridge, Grandmaster.
After all of that,
he got his little tag in. Hey, you should see him in the studio. Okay. He think he's Rocky Balboa now.
Shuffling him over him now.
Listen, I hope you guys, if you want, you can hold on. We're gonna take a little pause for the calls, and then we coming back, and discuss some more of this stuff, man. If you can hang out, and hopefully, we can continue our conversation without having to hear the muffling sounds of his voice in the background. For those of you who are listening to LA Talk Live, Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics here, you're listening in the background to the illustrious voices of Enchantment, y'all. We'll be back in a moment.
Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk.
Hi, this is Starla Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Y'all ready for this?
Hi, I'm Jerry Bell of the Daz Band and New Birth.
And I'm Brahima Arsalan.
Inviting you to join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time for Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics, baby.
Join us as we play some of the greatest hits of soul and R&B and listen in to interesting discussions with the legends of the music.
Into my arms and feel the love that's true. I'll do you no harm. You know that I don't wanna lose this love, darling, 'cause it's taking me somewhere I've never been. This love, darling, help me understand that when you find the right one, you gotta take the hand and stay forever, baby. Not just for the day. This love is too precious to never stop and say, stay forever, baby. Not just for the day. Give you my heart. Find out that you stay forever, baby. For the rest of time. I wanna know it. And if the last days on earth should come, I say we'll smile upon our memories, and we'll hold each other till we become one. There's love.
Hey. And we're back on Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics here on L Talk Live. The sounds that you're hearing in the background is that of Tyler Conte, y'all.
I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that one.
That's hotness.
I hope we still got our special guest on the line, Enchantment, y'all. You still there, David?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah.
We're still here.
This is a younger artist, man, that's on the show with us today.
Hey guys,
And,
how you doing?
Okay.
This is some of his.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm
Nice
great,
product,
man.
my brother.
Thank you so much, man. Bless you guys. I look up to you big time. So, I can't say that I know a ton of your music, but I am a student, and I'm gonna go home and cop whatever I can. So.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that. Keep on doing great music, man. Keep on doing the good quality music. That's what it's all about.
Thanks.
We
man.
got a shortage of that nowadays, and so it's lovely to see somebody that's trying to do it the right way. You know, that's what we got to do. We got to do it the right way and keep on putting good quality music out there.
So there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
That's a wonderful thing.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel, then.
Well, it's guys like
that
you.
light is not with you though.
It's guys like you and Jerry.
Sniper
We
rifle.
got you back for that last one, okay?
It's all good.
We need to introduce these other people too,
Please.
right?
Yes,
now.
we are. Joined us, guys, is the great Keg Johnson here, who's done a lot of producing and a lot of writing.
Introduced everybody but you, huh?
Hey, that's all right. You know what I mean?
How you doing, JB?
Mhm.
Hey,
right, good
you know,
evening.
and that's the Oracle.
And
over
also
there.
the very lovely
Hello.
inimitable
Good afternoon, all.
Oracle. Welcome again, my love.
Now this is the queen of spoken word over here.
Absolutely. You
Yes.
know, Richard,
I'm
she's
the
the
princess.
she's
She's
the number
the
one
queen.
spoken word artist in the world. You know that, right?
No, I did not know that. Another
That's
rousing
what
round
they
of
said
applause for
last
that.
year.
At least that's what
Spoken word
Billboard magazine said.
Wow.
Now I got a real something's about to burst. I got to say this because I'm a pretty old cat, and I watched many years ago in my life. I'm back to the question you asked. Where's the music going? And you said when the music changed. Let me tell you something. This sounds like a conversation I heard in 1959, 1957, 58. Okay, don't have that conversation. The music is never gonna go backwards, ever.
Good point.
Now, life doesn't go backwards, does it? I'm thinking about it. Just tomorrow. It's never going to be yesterday.
You look at Rich.
Okay, now, that doesn't mean, I think when artists like us, not me, like you all cry about that, what you're missing is the quality. It isn't going back. Quality wasn't always there. Now, if you want to hear some raggedy stuff, go back and listen to some early R&B. I participated in some of it. Believe me, I know it was right. When I listened back, I said, "My God, was that me?" There was a time when we were doing rhythm and blues, but at 17, 18 years old, wasn't nobody gonna give me no budget, and I couldn't play good enough anyway. So they had to bring in jazz cats to play my stuff. Now, for instance, I'd be telling the drummers, and he'd be. And he said, "No, but I played with bass." And I said, "Yeah, well, I wrote the goddamn song." There was that kind of battle. And until we until we became great players, and we did, believe me and Jerry Peters and Harvey Mason and Chuck Rainey, and we became hell of a players so that we could express our stuff. Then it got accepted, okay? Human beings, this is what I love to say. Historically, love wonderful art historically. So you don't have to worry about, is it going to die? No, Brady. Unless the human race dies out. Okay, the music is always going to glide on top of that because we're telling a story. Hey, here's what's happening with the town cry. Hear ye, hear ye. So here's what's happening. Here's what happened down the, so-and-so got beat up. Yeah, that's the town cry. That's us. We selling the news. We selling the songs. But we thank God somebody's buying this shit. You know what I mean? We'd be doing it anyway. You know, I remember this. I was sitting in the studio doing some stuff on the Silvers. I remember this specifically. And Jim Shiplet and I were there, my engineer, and he was saying, I started laughing because we were ripped to the gills, but I started laughing. And there was nobody in there but him, and it was 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and he said, what are you laughing at, man? Have you gone crazy? I said, no, man, these white people are paying us all this money to do this shit, and they don't know we'd be doing it anyway in the garage. Same thing, only now we're in a $150 an hour studio, and we're making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a song. Movement in mind, okay? Trust me. When I watch, you know, I got a nephew. The irony of all of this is my family, as you know, Rich, has been immersed in music from way before me. And I got a nephew, the only guy in my whole family that don't play no instrument. He's probably the most successful, and he makes more money than any of us because he's a rap star. He's in his Prodigy in a band called Mobb Deep. Okay? Now, he don't play no instrument. He said, man, I wish I could play. And I said, I wish I could rap, nigga. I wish I could make that kind of money. Are you kidding me? You make more money in a month than I made in my life.
Wow.
I mean, seriously. So, look, today, in today's world, all we have to do, look, we don't have to worry about the radio knocking. We don't have to worry about there ain't no record business. There ain't no music industry no more. We it. Right. The internet let the dragon out of the box. But if you got any goods, like you got stuff, you promote it the right way today, you're gone. Trust me.
Don't need no record company.
Bingo.
There's a kid who does.
The last thing I would do right now would be to unite with a record company, something like getting on the Titanic.
It's true. Now, this is the crazy part is because the work that I've done was, you know, before I became a musician, I did, you know, I kind of went the the Bill Withers route. You know, he worked as an engineer for most of his life, and then he got into music when he was in his 30s. Yeah. That's, you know, that gave me hope when I heard about him. I was like, oh, okay, then I'm not crazy after all.
Maybe even Richard could sing.
Yeah. Oh no, but seriously, you know, I worked in, you know, internet and stuff like that, and I was building a project for a company. And we're sitting in. This is the 5th largest record company in the world, and sitting in their offices, and I'm wondering why they're doing this internet venture. And when I had a serious conversation with the owner of the company, he's like, listen, we're trying to get out because it's a countdown, like it's over. And he's like, and we're aware of this. The record labels are fully aware of this, and that's why Virgin, what are they? They're doing airlines now. They're doing everything other than music because they know that the 1,000% markup they used to be able to do on albums and owning people's rights, the stuff they never created, that game is over.
Many years ago, I had a conversation with Sylvia Rohn. You know who Sylvia Rohn is? Mm-hmm. And we close. And I said, hey, and that Napster stuff was going down, okay? Mm-hmm. And she was, we getting ready to kick it. I said, Sylvia, you better buy them. Why don't you buy them? So I said, that's going to happen. Oh, no, we got to, buy. Don't make that the enemy. That's the internet. You should, if you buy that, then everybody's got to come through you. Come on. Oh, no. And bang. Now when I called to talk to her about 2 years ago, she said, you know what I'm doing, Keg? I said, what? She said, I got my staff spending 80% of the time trying to repackage the stuff, my old stuff, to sell it on the internet. And let me tell you, if you know anything about the record business, let me tell you something how it used to be. The record business never made a whole bunch of money on the original product because they had to promote it too hard. What they would do is they would catch it the second time around. If it's sitting on the floor, they can sell it for $3. They don't have to pay nobody. That's where they made their money in the catalog. Today's catalog is free because of the internet. So that's why they're dying. It isn't because they can't promote songs. It's because they can't make money anymore that way. They can't rob us anymore.
Exactly. They can't. Okay? That's exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And the thing that, and to your point that you made, I mean, that's why I was excited because I remember I must have been 20 and I was complaining about, you know, the direction music was going and whatnot. And my mother just looked at me and she said, you act like this is something new. She said you should have heard the radio in the 50s.
Hey man, music.
She said when I was growing up, the music was terrible. It was unbelievable. She said we didn't even listen to the radio except for the few instances in which black people were actually on the radio.
Right.
She said music was horrible, and then all of a sudden Motown hit. She said then everything changed. She said, but we didn't see that coming. Just came
well,
up
it was a little bit before Motown.
Uh-huh.
It was rhythm and blues happened.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
Well, we call it rhythm. It's really rock and roll happened, which was us.
Yeah.
You know, think about Chuck Berry said rock and roll music.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a white thing.
Oh yeah,
Little Richard.
I'm fully aware of this.
Little Richard. Yeah. On and on, James Brown. On. That's rock and roll. They used to call me rock and roll.
Uh-huh.
Now I play rhythm and blues.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Interesting politics in that. But the bottom line is music evolves every day.
Yeah.
It changes. It's not a. It changes gradually. We hear it in spurts because we've been listening to it under a controlled thing. I remember. I watched the media try to eliminate black people from the radio for a long time. That's been from the spectrum for a long time. That's what disco music was about.
It's still going on right now.
Well, no, they're giving it up now. Michael Jackson made them give up, flush all that shit.
Well,
down
not
the toilet.
necessarily. I mean, because let's be honest with ourselves. The reason why Adele and Amy Winehouse got the play that they got was because they were white.
But that's hey, you know what? It's still a white world. I'm not unaware of that. What I'm saying is the dragon's out the box now. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not limited by that anymore. But, and it was just that we have to right now. You say, where's the music going? Well, when we get out, it's going in my direction. Okay, trust me. I'm not where I am. We are the competition, buddy. You understand?
This is true.
My history says that I'm the competition. We get in the game, just going my way. Now, when you get in the game tough enough, when this brother gets in the game, every time he gets on the radio, it goes his way. Every time people say, "Oh God," I mean, believe me, I know. I say, "Yeah, that's my partner." Right. Yeah, and we determine where it's going to go. I don't mean just you and I. I mean those of us who consider us artists and got something to say. That's where it's going.
Yeah.
Speak loud and clear. I'm humble pie when I'm over here doing this, but when I'm pissed. Now here's another thing. Here's what we got, and I'm talking too much, Jerry.
No.
Here's one of the things we got that we must understand. Okay. This is the music business. It's not just about learning how to make music. When I wrote a book, and I'll talk about my father and them, and they were jazz musicians. My daddy played. I grew up. He was playing with Cab Calloway. Okay. But when them cats came up, there wasn't no record business. They had to learn. Not only were they creating a new music, but they had to create a way to make money with it. Okay. Same thing we got to do. We got something new. Okay. It's not just I made some money. I made some music. Give me my money. Oh wait, hey, time out. Abe will get that money. You understand what I'm saying to you? If you don't understand the business, trust me, somebody else will. I mean, how many times did I say to myself as a younger artist, "Oh, I don't want to do that shit. Somebody take care of the money. I just want to make my music." And Big Ben said, "No problem." He didn't even take the cigar out of his mouth while he was getting me.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
That's right.
Because I didn't want to take care of the money. Learn the business. You'll make your money. Let me tell you something. If you're selling CDs at $10 a piece and sell 200,000 of them, how much money you got? Think about that. Think about it. You don't have to work anymore if you got any brains. Okay? But if you're only getting a whacked up 10% of that, you're going to be struggling because you know what I'm saying. So you don't need. That's what the record company will do to you. If you're your own company, you don't have to sell 9 million records.
That's right.
And the ability to sell 9 million records through the web is still there. There's a young cat who was a guest on our station some weeks back on the show Rio Novo, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. His name is Daystorm. He makes these funny, quirky, almost Weird Al Yankovic type of rap videos and put them up on YouTube. One of them had 52 million views. I've asked this question on a musical-based show before here on our network. At what point will the industry start acknowledging the 1 million views on YouTube, and why shouldn't they? Shouldn't that constitute platinum as well?
Well, I mean, speaking as someone who's worked in the internet for many years, there's a difference between views and people. I mean, the thing about making the internet a medium to where you make money is that that's not just you flip a switch and it happens, right? People go online with the understanding that they're viewing something for free. I mean, that's the point of reference.
Good point.
And really what you do with your album sales and stuff like that you make online is really just to keep your operation afloat. What you're really focused on doing is building up a following so that when you go places and perform, That's how you make your money. Now, and I learned this partially too through my own kora teacher. I mean, that's one of the things he started doing was he started telling stories and playing the kora, but he started recording it and releasing it on iTunes. And while that brought in a decent amount of money, a surprising amount of money, it was not enough for him to sustain his family. But on a yearly basis, he flies to Japan, Peru, Brazil, parts of all over Europe. And that's all, people pay money for him to come, perform, tell stories, go back, and he lives very comfortably, and he's doing his work. The problem that we have is that people want to get on the internet and get famous. And people hear about Justin Bieber and go, oh, well, I want to be like him. And it's like, you have to be serious about what it is that you're trying to achieve and how you want to go about achieving it. Like the person I would put forward as an excellent model of what the artist should be trying to do is someone like Georgia Ann Muldrow, where her music, she's done, I think, 10 or 12 albums in the last 8 years. It's a ridiculous amount of turnover, but she's got a very good following. All of her music is really good. She produces her own music. She writes her own music. She performs most of the instruments on her own music. She sings. She's a very talented sister, but she's dark and she has bold African features. And so nobody's going to throw her up on a music video. But when you hear her music, everybody's like, man, that was amazing. Why isn't she famous? And she's like, I don't care whether I'm famous or not. I care about if I'm reaching the people who want to hear my music, and she's doing that. And you may have heard her voice on a number of tracks and not realize it, because a number of artists have worked with Georgia. But she has chosen her path and how she wants to go about doing things. And that has to be a very serious question that people have to ask themselves, because a lot of people get in this music industry and they're thinking, well, I want to be famous and I want to go platinum and I want to blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, it's like the brother was saying earlier. Are you doing this music because you love it? Or are you doing this because you're trying to be famous? And that's the real question that you have to ask when you're doing the internet stuff, is because there is definitely a ceiling with the internet stuff. You may get 52 million views, but that stuff is, it's trending. It's very fast.
You can pay for your views too.
Exactly.
Like yesterday, I paid for 5,000 views.
Yeah.
Straight up. It's marketing. I mean, you can get 1 million views, cost you roughly $1,000.
So I shouldn't have been impressed seeing 52 million views.
No.
What do y'all think about, how does that play out though, when you compare it to what's happening with the song Happy by Pharrell?
Well, Pharrell's song is actually a really good song, though.
Really
I mean, and let's not forget, I mean...
I want to say good in a relative sense, because I know some people are going to pick that apart.
Listen, I'm saying that from a standpoint of from business. Like from a business standpoint, when I first heard that song, I was like, Pharrell's about to make a whole lot of money. That's exactly what I thought. I don't think Pharrell is a very good singer. I don't think he's all that talented, but in terms of being able to get into the business and run the gears and make his moves, he's an accomplishment.
Man, you know why that happened.
You said I'm
Here we go.
Come on now.
You said you want me to say it?
Yeah,
You
tell
said
him, will you?
Look. You know what my feeling is about this.
You know who produced the cut, don't you?
I know exactly who produced the cut, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying we're smart about it.
No, what I'm saying.
Well, let's break that down. I need some clarification.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Thanks to the gents from Enchantment who's still on the line with us.
You still on the line with us?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh yeah. Now, see, my view, but my experience of seeing what happens with this generation of wannabe musicians, singers, not even musicians because they don't play any instruments, but singers and everybody. It's like you can have so many male artists, you can have so many female artists, and you can have so many male or female groups, but 90% of them come up through the homosexual movement. If you ain't trying to come in this industry nowadays and bend over, you know what I mean, you're not coming up in the industry, and it's a serious situation. And so what they do is they'll sell their soul, even though they can't sing or dance worth a damn. They'll sell their soul because they want the stardom. They want the money because they see the bling. I want this car. I want to have this house, you know. some of these cats coming up out of the hood or whatever, and they'll say, well, hey, you know, ain't nobody gonna see me behind closed doors, I'll do this. Whereas it's a whole different situation on how we came up in the industry. You had to work. Everybody had to sing. You had to know how to sing, dance, the whole nine.
You know what I like to say, Jerry, being a bad MF was ground zero.
Yeah.
That was ground zero. You had to do that. Or
you know, I must just be a naive person, because when I heard this Pharrell song, Happy Song, I said, oh, it's time for another happy song. Remember the Don't Worry, Be Happy,
yeah, well,
you know,
okay,
and Three Little Birds.
Let me say why I said that. Okay, I understand, but for me, Bobby McFerrin had already done that number one. Okay, so and I thought, first of all, I thought that since we critiquing this song, I thought not just that I thought it was lame, but I knew Curtis Mayfield very well, and he didn't sound nothing like that.
Right.
Okay. Well, who's making that comparison? Someone's
no, he's trying to sing like Curtis. If you listen to some old Curtis, even the melody, the way he's pronouncing the word.
About Pharrell?
He sounds a lot like Cuba Gooding back in the day.
Same thing.
Well, what's happened? The music is so subpar that anything sounds, anything that even sounds like singing. Yeah. I mean, people are like, "Oh my gosh!"
What you're looking at, Richard, and I'm sure everybody here knows that today's world, and this is a good thing if you can get in when you get in the game. Today's world, the audience and the people have been conditioned. Just anything that you splash, you can put enough. What do you call it? A promotional energy or money, payola into. You can get it in the game.
Did
it will
say
work.
Payola?
No.
Yeah, we said payola.
I want to come back and talk about payola after the break. Go ahead, though.
All right.
Continue, please.
If you can do that, you can kill. Okay, it's about PR. Like who was my man saying? I was talking to a guy earlier. We were talking about the internet promotion is wonderful, but you still got to do some brick and mortar thing too.
Exactly.
You still got to get the radio. You still got to promote the stuff in the magazines. So people say, "Who are you talking about?" Oh, I can go to the internet and see that. Bang, and then boom, then it blows up.
And that's, you know, one of the things that we do on what they call old school, I call it original school. One of the things that we do when we go out on tour, we also take our CDs and we sell them, you know, on the tour circuit. You know what I mean? We promote the CD on the internet, like Reverb Nation and on Facebook and, you know, these kind of things. But when we go out, you know, people want to buy. And you know, it's amazing because our largest our biggest audience, our biggest fan base is Hispanic. They know everything that you can think about. Gloria, I mean the whole nine. They know us and they want it. And they don't care how much they get it. You know what I mean? So what has happened is the media, because the record companies don't control the internet now, but they still have those moguls that control mainstream radio. They control the television and commercials. So then they pump what they want to pump. Like 92.3 was telling me one time, they said, well, we can't do whatever we want to do on the radio. It was one of the jocks over there. He was telling me, he said the Clear Channel is all the radio stations around the country now are owned by Clear Channel.
That's correct.
And they have program directors that tell them you can play and you can't play. This is what you play. So the payola thing is still going on.
Yeah.
Only it's double.
Yeah.
But
I want y'all to hold a discussion about payola till after the break too. Okay. But go ahead.
But this is my point, is that getting it back to what we were saying before, is that first off, my point was with the internet stuff is that stuff's ephemeral. It comes and it goes. And what you're talking about with the music industry and the control, that's how it was in the 50s. It was just a different type of control. Instead of a centralized organization of corporations, what you had was the good old boy network. And the reality is that, you know, you couldn't do an album that had a black face on the cover, even though it was a black singer. All of those things, ultimately, we overcame just through being damn good at it. And then also to a commitment to teaching those coming up behind us the music, and that's something I don't see much at all going on anymore.
Because
like,
there ain't nobody that you can teach. You
that's
can't,
not
that's
true.
like Rich. You can't teach him how to sing.
I was down in New Orleans. I saw a lot of talented kids. I saw a lot of kids in Atlanta. I see kids down here. I see a lot of kids that just don't receive an education in music whatsoever.
And that's true. That music is not in the schools anymore like it was when we were coming up.
Miles,
we had band
take Miles Davis for example. He went to Juilliard, right? Music wasn't in the schools for him. He learned music. He went to Juilliard and was frustrated because he said, I came here expecting to see you guys understand music at a certain level. And I learned more in the juke joint about music than you guys know now. And he was arguing with his teachers about concepts of musical theory. He's like, I know what a chromatic scale sounds like. This is simple shit. Let's get to the heavy stuff. And they couldn't hang with him, and he left. Right. So what I'm saying is that Miles Davis wasn't educated in the school system. He was educated by his elders.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, is that it's an overall problem society-wide with us, regardless of whether it's music or sport, whatever you want to focus on. We as elders, and I include myself in that, are not doing enough to pass on the knowledge to the generation coming up behind us. So we have no place to talk about where they're at and what they're not achieving.
Excellent point.
You just spoke the absolute gospel. Amen to that.
All right, we're gonna take a pause for the cause. We'll be back. Enchantment is on the line, y'all. Don't go nowhere, brothers, because we want to get your take on some of this stuff too. And here's some more of this good music. And we will be back after station identification, and hopefully we can get some kind of musical instructions going, so we could teach Brother Grasshopper over here how to sing a little bit. I don't think it's gonna ever. I don't think it'll ever work, but anyway, we'll be back, y'all, in Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics, y'all. Stay tuned.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Yeah. Hey y'all, I'm Shaquem Williams, and I'm the host of The Shock Factor here on LA Talk Live. We broadcast to the world every Friday at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Live music, live performances. We're just live. Chef Momo, Life MC, Diana, and once again, your host, Shaquem Williams. So come join us every Friday here at LA Talk Live, the world-leading broadcasting internet radio station. The Shock Factor. The Shock Factor. Join us on The Shock Factor. I just want you to know that you are every day, baby. And no matter where we go, you always be my girl. And my everything. Listen to me, I just want to let you know, to the end of the road I go for you. See a smile on your face. I will give up everything I do, whatever it takes. Show you that you mean so much to me. I put my love on display for you. Take a stand in line for you. All of this I would do. Because you're always down the road with me. There when I didn't have a penny to my
And we're back on Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics, you all. The song that you heard before we were leaving was that of Michael Jackson. What you're hearing in the background now is that of Jerry Bell.
The brother, you took your glasses off looking young over there.
Hey,
what's your diet plan? I gotta figure that out.
I would say it, but we have two ladies in here.
I want to look. Oh, you get a point.
Respond that quick if it was true.
I know. Hey, you
gotta be something going on. If he respond that.
Hey, you get points for that.
And we got my father in the house.
It's okay. The ladies are smiling too.
Hey, it's an antidote for everybody.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
They can understand. Things will be easier, baby. I said.
So let's give them the rundown from the right to the left of the table. Of course, host, producer of today's show, and every week it's the great Jerry Bell, the great Keg Johnson. We've got my man Steve Ivory. I know that already. Conte, Tyler Conte messed me up. Ibrahim Darsalam, Coco host Tosh Arset, and the beautiful Oracle. And we're back to the show. And on the line with us, Enchantment, indeed.
Are you there, brother?
Yes. Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah. So what is your take?
Man, let's
on...
sing a song.
Yeah, still there.
What is it? I got my guitar.
What is your take on the conversation that we've been having thus far?
Oh, I'm liking it. It's very informative to me. This is David speaking.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, I was listening because a lot of times I'm out in California and I listen to Mr. Art LeBeau. And I know a lot of my peers appear with him at the concerts there.
Right.
So I tried to reach out. I have tried to reach out and find out how we could be involved in those same concerts, But for some apparent reason, we can't make contact on that. But I guess it'll come in due time. Mm-hmm. And people like Jerry Bell and you guys out there on the West Coast, as we are networking right now, because I guess if you're not in the loop, then people seem to forget, where the groups are. They'll play the records, but they might not know where we are.
Right. One of the things with speaking of the Art LeBeau situation is, they have a record label, and a lot of the acts are signed to their label. So if you're not a part of that label situation, they're not trying to see you. You know what I mean? And they're giving you the same kind of runaround that they give to everybody if they can't lock you down. You know what I mean? And they may accept your calls or what have you, or know that you call and that kind of thing. They'll play it on the radio. They'll play the records on the radio. But most of the acts that are on those concert tours with them, from the Delphonics on down, they've signed their life over to these cats, and they end up getting a lot of their publishing too. They're real slick about it, man.
Wow.
Because in the concert thing, in the concert thing, especially on the R&B circuit now, it's coming back. It's a surge that's coming back in because people want real music. They want to go to shows. They want to see real performers, and hear real music, even with jazz, which that's one thing they can't lock in at this particular time. But with the R&B, most of these cats, man, are hungry, so they doing whatever they think it takes to get back in. That's why I'm glad that you and I have clicked. Some of the other artists, out here like Stone City Band and the Whispers and Al Jarreau and the Emotions and different people like this. They're calling me and saying, look, whatever you doing, we want to do. We're down, so put us in. The same thing with Al McKay and the All Stars and Larry Dunn, from Earth, Wind and Fire. I mean, all these cats want to work, but they are not going to sell themselves off, man, to these cats. We already had it, with the record labels.
Of course.
So, and we got it. I mean, there is an audience, man, that's so heavy out there for our music. I mean, I get hits on Facebook all the time. When you guys coming? When you coming to town? What are you doing?
Yeah.
When can we? Where can we hear you at? What new stuff you have? So it's there. It's just a matter of us taking charge of ourselves, and coming together and say, you know what? Look, why don't we do this? Why don't we do what like they do in the acting arena when all the black actors get together and do a film together? They do what is called Favorite Nations. Favorite Nations is where everybody agrees on the same price. And so everybody get paid that same price, and we go out and we find one band that'll be the house band for everybody, pay them well, and we go and tear this shit up, man.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well,
that's right.
Aren't you guys doing that? Hasn't that been done before?
To a point.
Wasn't Michael Henderson and the Brothers Johnson?
They had started it, but then they dropped. Yeah, they started it, but then they dropped the ball. A lot of those cats. It's very sad with sometimes in the family, we can't get along because we're caught up in the ego. You know what I mean? Who's gonna star? And then everybody stars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everybody is a star, right?
So if I'm,
it's a lot. There's many in the sky.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So if I put a tour together, everybody's a star. I look at there's a difference when you have Al Jarreau. So, of course, we would have Al as the headliner, but everybody else is coming as the co-stars on the show, right. And we make it happen, man. One night someone else will take a certain position, next night someone else, and we work it like that, and make it happen, and we can keep the money in the family, build the unit strong. We have to start. The other thing too, man, is it's a lot of capital out here that we can get. I'm making a lot of ways, and actually, Keg and I talked about this too. We both are dealing with the Chinese, so I'm working on some situations on booking concerts over in China, in Shanghai, and doing major casinos in Hong Kong and places like that where they appreciate the music, and then coming back and having a force to be reckoned with here on the soil, to where we can go anywhere, and instead of the Jew boys running the industry or controlling it, we control ourselves. One of the things that kind of pissed me off. See, I've never had management before. I didn't have management until I got in the Daz band, and that was we just could not get along. I didn't even get along with the managers because I knew they were stealing. I look at a lot of these groups and they, man, we got a manager and we got an agent. I'm like, well, hold on. If I call you up and I talk to Enchantment on the phone and you say, okay, we'll do this gig, how much is it paying? I say, it's paying this. Okay, well, we want this amount. I'll try to work that amount out. And if I can't meet that amount, can we do it like this? And you say yes. What the hell do you need an agent or a manager to come in and take a cut? And when you're not on the phone, you know what I mean? When you're not on the phone, I'm talking to your manager or your agent, and they trying to get extra money for themselves, and they blow the gig, and because someone says, well, hey, I can't pay that, and then okay, well, they can't do it. So now you don't even know that you've been bullshitted out of a deal, out of a situation where you could have made money. And it's the same thing. I had this major problem with. I know all the cats in Earth, Wind and Fire. They've been on my show. And we had an event that came up where we had a Grammy party, and they didn't show up to the Grammy party because I got into a battle with their publicists. I said, wait a minute, I thought management and publicists work for you. Well, how come you can't answer the phone when I call you up, chump? I'm talking to you directly. How come you can't pick up your phone? Now you're gonna cower out on me when I get you on the telephone, or you don't answer the phone. And you're going to say, well, talk to my man. I don't want to talk to your manager. I'm talking to you. You the man? You a man? Is this your group? Are you in control of your own life and situation? Then let's me and you talk. So that's how I've always been. And until we take control of our own lives, other people are going to control it. And it ain't going to never be what it's going to be. And it's going to be just like it is right now. Most of us in the music industry have been shitted on to the point to where we looking at the industry as fallen, but all those cats that were in charge of the record labels have walked away with millions and millions of our dollars. Half of our publishing, if not all of the publishing. And they've walked away with it, and we're still out here trying to struggle to make something happen. That's unheard of. Yeah, it's phenomenal, man. But that's the only way that this is going to take a toll, is if we, as a united artist of people, come together and say, hey, we are working together, and we're going to put a package together, and this is what we agree on. And if they don't accept that package and what we've agreed on, then we ain't doing that. We won't do the show. We won't do the concert, because they got to make money off us. So let them beg us to do what is needed. You know what I'm saying? Anybody have something to say?
Well, Tasha Assett and I were sitting over here just in one of the last breaks speaking on this very subject, about, I was telling her how I have two publicists. I have one who does social media. She makes sure to hit all over the world, whatever, on social media. Then I have one who does the personal things. She's my filter. I'll make the deals, like you're saying, Michael. People call me direct. I negotiate something. I said, well, you know what? Let me get this to the management, blah, 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 and I'll have my publicist contact you with further details or whatever. And I use her as a filter, because what I have found, and maybe it's just a woman thing, but I have found having representation step up on your behalf has worked on my benefit. as opposed to me always doing my, because when you always do your own business, especially when you're hard nosed or if you really know what you're doing, you come across as, what's the new, the new, they call it being bossy as opposed to being looked at as the boss, you know. So I use filters oftentimes and to get what, and the results have been very favorable.
And you know, I mean, that's good. That's good for you for that particular, for your particular situation. But when it comes to us doing the music thing, we've been through all of those. I've been through it with being in a band where, you know, you got 9 guys or 10 guys in a band and nobody knows what's going on except for the lawyer and the manager. And then the lawyer and the manager come to you and they say, well, you know, we got an offer for you. And you're believing that bullshit.
Well, Jerry, you know, you're right. That's the tail wagging the dog. I had a great manager one time, and his name is Bennett Glotzer. He managed Frank Zappa and Blood, Sweat, and he managed some heavy duty. He was a heavy brother. He was a lawyer, and I used him like this. I ran, it was my company, my show, so it was going to be my way. But he would go and get. We would discuss. I'd say, look, I want this out of the deal. He said, okay, cool. Bam, he'd go to the record company. I'm Keg's manager, and he would hammer them. I remember, you know who Hank Caldwell is?
Yeah, I know.
Hank was running Atlantic. He was trying to hire me to produce Levert or Steve Arrington, one of them artists like that. And he called me. He said, Keg, call me, because we're tight. He says, Keg, can you get this pit bull off of me, man? I said, what do you mean? Your manager, man, he's kicking my ass. I said, Hank, he's getting me money. You want me to stop him? Okay, so I was under, he did the stuff, but he did what I wanted him to do. I never let it get out of that, away from that. When you do, like when it happens like it happened to you guys, there's a automatic rape.
Yes.
You know, see, what I'm used to, before I got with Daz, I was with the New Birth for a while during the 70s. Now, one of my very good friends at the time was Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra. When the Italians was running the industry, everything was done on a handshake. Because once you shook that hand, you knew that you were bound by a handshake to do exactly what you say. When you made an agreement on a certain price, that's what it was. Nothing more, nothing less. The same thing with them. You made an agreement, you're going to show up and do this concert. That's the way that it was set up. If you didn't, you had the consequences seriously to deal with. The problem in the industry today, our recent time, is you'll have a group or a manager that'll say, give me X amount of dollars. You don't know what they're doing. The group doesn't know, or the artist doesn't know what they're doing. And then when you find out, you know what they say? Sue me. Because they feel as though, well, we're protected by law and there's nothing you can do to me, you know, and they constantly ripping the artist off on a constant basis. Look, the same thing that happened with Michael Jackson and the situations that were going on in the Michael camp. If that would have been at the time when, because Joe had that backup at one time. You know what I mean? If that would have been back then, there's none of this stuff would be going on. And you know, I really hate to talk about certain type of people in the industry, but when you look at the realities and the truths of what's happening here, these people run it. They're lawyers. Then their cousin is the lawyer who owns this law firm, and they own CAA and Universal and what have you. And so they all on the phone together, and they have conversations. They're on the golf course together. They have conversations. They're in the courthouse together. Well, my uncle is the judge. Let's get it in this court, and we'll win the case.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is how they sucker you up, and they destroy great talent. And we don't realize what's happening to us. And if and the ones that are smart enough to know, then they ostracize you out of the business, or you become on the blacklist, sort of a say.
Right. I live on the blacklist.
Yeah.
I love the blacklist.
Me too.
I am the blacklist.
Just trying to come out of it.
Yeah. You know, so like I said, you know, I know that I truly believe that, you know, with the conversations that we have especially on this radio program, on LA Talk Live, because it's uncensored. We can talk about whatever we want. We can do, and we can discuss things and make people our radio listeners as well as artists that are listening to this radio realize and look up and say, you know what, I learned something today from these cats, and they can go back on the internet and pull it up and revamp the situation and know that, you know, we don't have to put up with bullshit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They already laid the pavement for us to walk down and the blueprint for us to follow, so we can do that. Then along with that, here we are. Here's Jerry Bell on this side, Daz Band. Here's Enchantment on the other side. And, you know, we've had other artists, and we got other artists that are listening. You know, all we have to do now is come together and start saying, okay, we're going to do shows. Mm-hmm. All right, let's find out how we can go get sponsorships to do and promote these concerts that we want to do. And we can do them.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I got a headline for you, buddy.
Yep.
When my dad and them were creating the jazz, they created unions.
Yeah.
They created conglomerates. Yeah. They created jobs for themselves. You know, they would go to a club and play for tips, and then fill it up, and then after a couple of days they tell the cat, hey, you know, we need to get paid. So, well, I can't pay you. So, well, cool, we'll go do this across the street. And they said, well, wait, maybe I can pay you. Okay, same thing here. They didn't rely on promoters. They didn't rely on any system.
Right.
Which is what we talk about creating. Right. They were in Chicago. I read in the talking biography that my uncle did with Mill Hinton, who is in the Smithsonian. He said they were in Chicago. They had the Black Musicians Union. They would meet down in somebody's bedroom, a basement, I should say, once a week. Only black musicians. Okay, and they forced the white union they forced the integration of them. Okay, because they said, okay, cool. We got the baddest cats over here. You got them. You got it. Mm-hmm. Okay, and here over here is Count Basie and Duke Ellington and all these guys over there is who?
Right.
Who are them guys? Mm-hmm. Trying to play that swing shit? Okay. No, and the guy said, well, maybe you guys should come on in and be in this union. Okay, and they forced their way by being better. Yeah. And you're going to do the same thing. Yeah. We're going to say, not only are you a great artist, but you know everybody. Yeah. And you got the right idea. Right. What needs to be put together is a roughly I don't know what the word is. You would almost call it an agency.
Well, black
agency, a small co-op kind of thing. You dig what I'm saying? With just a limited amount of people.
Right.
Oh, an ensemble group. You know, like do the old Vic theaters in England.
Right.
Every movie they did was the same actors in different parts. You know what I mean? Same. This concert could be. You could have 10 core groups. And that's three different concerts. Whatever combinations is available. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're
like
saying.
Like the Motown Review.
Like the Motown Review.
Right.
Can I chime in?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me bring it back to Africa again.
Back to Africa.
Well, the reality is, what you're talking about with the different groups of people working together and the sort of organized and controlled nepotism, right? That's been the narrative of every group of people who migrate to this country. They all form these little enclaves and they work only with each other and that sort of thing. The only group of people in this country who have not done that have been African Americans. Mm-hmm. Many have complained that we don't do that. I think it's a good thing that we haven't, because the only group of people in this country who have been consistently inclusive when it comes to other groups of people have been us. We're the only group of people. You can come in our neighborhood, you can come around us, and we're not going to bust you over the head with a bottle and say, get the hell up out of here and treat you like crap. We're actually going to bring you into the fold.
Where did he grow up, Jerry?
Oakland.
I grew up in Oakland. That was the Bay Area. But I mean,
I'm
even
joking,
so, I mean,
but you're right.
It's very true. I mean, they did this one woman, she did a book on racial dynamics in America, and she showed the record. She said the most humane societies in America have always been black communities.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think
she said they're the one group of people who consistently were inclusive. Now, this is my thing: is that if we get into this whole thing of establishing black unions, you run into two things. The first thing, you're gonna have to let go of that, being inclusive, open to other groups of people.
No, understand. I was just talking about. I said they did this. This is black back in the day. I'm not talking about a black union. Now I'm talking about a co-op of different music entities, whether they black or not.
Okay, cool.
You know,
I'm just saying, like, I'm just putting that out there.
Well, incidentally, by the way, black is it used to be a stain, and today it's a point of pride.
Exactly.
Okay, because niggas like me died and shit. Okay, trust me.
I know.
Looking at it, yeah. I mean, don't get me started down. Don't send me down that
Hey,
path.
listen,
Okay.
don't send me. I mean,
Trust
believe
me.
me, I'm.
Brother said they got to walk. Hey man, there was times when you could walk in my neighborhood and get your ass kicked. Okay,
Mhm.
black
Phil-
or
that's in
white.
Phil- in
Just 'cause you're in
Philadelphia.
Harlem,
In Detroit, huh?
Long Island,
Detroit.
Harlem, Watts. Trust me, I've lived in some tough
Yeah.
neighborhoods where you better be you
I
better
lived in-
live on that block or
Yeah,
run
I lived
through
in
it.
some tough neighborhoods myself too.
And I think the point that
I'm
Ibrahim
making
makes is that as a whole, we're more likely to be more accepting of other races who move into our community. Let me complete my point because from when I was growing up in North Philly, we had Jewish delis and corner stores,
Italian,
right?
Italian delis and stores. Then we look at the 90s and up till now.
Exactly.
Latinos have moved into traditionally black neighborhoods from coast to coast.
Mm-hmm.
And even more importantly, it's interesting.
And we
that
have
you
not
talk-
been the source of the racial violence
That's-
directed.
and that's
Like
my
we
point.
don't go racially
Because
against
it-
and they, even though they may direct it towards us. And this is my point. Like I was sitting at a restaurant one time with a friend of mine who's Asian, and we were in a Asian neighborhood, and so we were sitting in this Korean restaurant, and this one sister was the only other black person in the restaurant. She got up and she went to the bathroom, and she walked right past our table because we were sitting near the bathroom, and she nodded to me and said hello, and I said hello back, and he leaned in and he said, "Why do you guys do that?" And I said, "Do what?" He said, "You guys greet each other when, it's just," I said, "We'd do it to you if you answered back." And then he looked at me and went, "Oh," and I said, "Think about that. Think about that. If I say hello, if you go to a black neighborhood and say hello to some random person on the street, see how many people answer you back. And then go to a white neighborhood or an Asian neighborhood, any of these other neighborhoods, and say hello to a person on the street and see how many people answer you back."
There's no question
And-
in my mind. I'm sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that the black people, we own the world of compassion. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm starting with that. So of course
Yeah.
you're right in those terms. But let me say this. Remember this. We weren't allowed to bring our culture with us.
Of course.
Number one. But number two, so what did that do for us? We have always sought to own a piece of the big picture.
Mhm.
I don't want to tear America down. I want my piece. I want my 200 or 300 million. You understand?
Exactly.
That's us.
Right.
I'm not
Mama
trying to be a
48.
Jewish deli. You understand? I don't want no hamburger. No. I want my piece. I'm a stockbroker too.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a
Exactly.
that's what we have. Other than that, we wouldn't have guys like Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan
Exactly.
making hundreds of millions of dollars. These are brothers. That wasn't happening
Mhm.
30, 40, 50 before you guys were born. Trust me, I was here.
Yeah.
That was not happening. Wasn't
Right.
no brothers making no million other than the pimps and the
Yeah.
real serious gamblers and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay. This is a new day.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's our no. It is. It's tough on us when we try to unite, get together and do something black because that's not our nature. I know I don't
Mhm.
think in those terms other than who my partners are and who I'm gonna make my music with. But who I'm gonna sell this to? I'm gonna sell it to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
To everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah. No prejudice.
None. All
Right.
green money.
Right. Right.
But I'm saying like that is the
Mm.
that's the great challenge that we as black folks in this country have always had to deal with, which is that what Du Bois called that dual reality, right? Like there's that part where people love you, but at the same time they despise you or they like resentful towards you. And holding on to our humanity, that's been the most difficult part, is being okay. I'm gonna maintain that consciousness where I'm open to all, but I'm still watching you. Because I know you're gonna pull some shit.
Hey, y'all, let's hit it with a little bit of this, y'all.
Oh wow, look at
We're gonna
where'd the
take
time go?
We're gonna take a break. Oh,
No,
we're
it's
out of here.
We're out of here.
Oh man, listen, I like.
What do you mean? Where did the time?
I
go?
like. I like to thank my my special guest on the other line, Enchantment. Man, we got to talk a little later. Let's speak over the weekend.
We'll do that.
And
We'll do that.
and definitely, I'm working on putting some things together, and also the radio station here, LA Talk Live. We are actually in the process now of trying to
We
put
don't
together.
try, we
We're
just
actually
do it.
putting together a concert for the summer. It's called the Summer Jam Soul Fest, and we are working on that right now. We're working on getting sponsors, and definitely you're on the top of the list to come in on this, man. And we're gonna tear them up. That's the bottom line, you know.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
I want to thank Keg.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Steve Ivory.
Pleasure and an honor.
Artist. Artist Tyler
Conte,
my man.
He's a beast. Want to have you back on some other shows too, man, that we do. This is one of many, so we definitely want to have you back. But I want to thank Grandmaster for bringing you through, man. Incredibly talented.
Thank you so
I
much.
think I want to invite you back for the Shock Factor. Particularly first Fridays of every month, we do live performances right here in the studio. We love to have you come back, man. Real talk.
Okay.
And also my co-host Ibrahim.
It's a
So
pleasure.
good to have you
Good
back.
to be
my
back.
brother.
Good to
I
be
feel
back.
stronger with you in the room.
Yeah, what I tell you.
I know he was reinvigorated.
And then my co-host Tasha I said.
Love you, lovely.
And the beautiful Oracle,
Thank you.
y'all.
Indeed.
Always remember to love yourself.
Look like a bed of roses down
Don't
there,
say that.
girl.
Listen, do not say love yourself to Rich.
Yeah, because I'll tell you right off the bat, I think self-love is a little overrated.
No,
Trust
listen,
me. I
no,
do
he
it every
don't.
night.
He's still listen.
A little overrated.
Listen,
I
he's
want
still
somebody to love me.
He still got a pillow. He still got a pillow where he drew lipstick on it. Lips.
No.
He had to get a parting word in.
I'm gonna leave that what it is.
Right at 4 o'clock.
Take
too.
us on out, Grandmaster.
Listen, you guys have been listening to Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics here on LA Talk Live. Stay tuned to next week. We got Switch coming in. Greg Williams from Switch is coming in on the show with us. He couldn't make it today, but he will be in next week. Okay. And I think he's bringing in El DeBudge, y'all. Right. So we're going to have a nice one. And as soon as Enchantment gets in town, we definitely got to get them on the show and have them back on the radio with us again on phone. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace and love.
Nothing I can do. I feel so bad. Yeah. I feel so blue. I got to make it right for everyone concerned. Even if it's me, if it means just me, what's getting burned? 'Cause I could never make you unhappy. No, I couldn't do that, girl. Only wish I didn't love you so. Makes it so very hard to go. So very hard to go. 'Cause I love you so. So very hard to go. I love you so. I knew the time would come. I'd have to pay for my mistake. I can't blame you for what you're doing to me, girl. Even though my heart aches. Your dreams have all come true, just the way you planned them. So I'll just step aside. I'm gonna step aside and lend a helping hand then. 'Cause I could never make you unhappy. No, I couldn't do that, girl. Only wish I did love you so. Makes it so very hard to know. So very hard to know. 'Cause I love you so. So very hard to know. I love you so.
Thank you for tuning in to LA Talk Live, reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. Stay tuned.